In the heart of the African continent lies the Central African Republic, a nation often overlooked despite being home to one of the most diverse cultural landscapes on the continent. Surrounded by Chad, Sudan, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Cameroon, it sits within the vast Congo Basin, a region known for its dense rainforests and communities whose traditions have remained remarkably resilient. While global attention frequently shifts toward larger or more politically influential countries, the Central African Republic remains largely unknown to the outside world, yet it is here that some of the most distinctive indigenous groups survive, including the Aka, Baka, Banda, and Gbaya. These communities preserve knowledge systems shaped by thousands of years of interaction with the forest, creating ways of life that continue to fascinate anthropologists. Understanding these cultures offers a rare window into human adaptation, social structure, and the deep relationship between people and nature. Geography and environment, the natural barriers that shape isolation. The Central African Republic is defined by a landscape that both sustains and protects its indigenous communities. Much of the country lies within the Congo Basin, one of the planet's most extensive rainforest systems. These forests create a humid, densely vegetated environment where visibility can shrink to only a few meters and where footpaths are often formed solely by repeated human passage. For groups such as the Aka and Baka, this ecosystem is not only a home but a foundation for their cultural identity. The forest's biodiversity provides food, shelter, and medicinal resources, forming a living archive of knowledge passed from one generation to the next. To the north, the terrain shifts into dry savannas that stretch toward the Sahel, influencing the livelihoods of communities like the Banda and Gbaya. This geographical contrast contributes to a complex cultural mosaic, each group adapting to the environment that surrounds them. The country's limited infrastructure also plays a significant role. Many regions remain accessible only by rough dirt roads that become impassable during the rainy season. This isolation has slowed the spread of urbanization and preserved traditional lifeways that might otherwise have disappeared. The remoteness also limits economic development, shaping a balance in which indigenous groups remain deeply connected to their environment. Their survival strategies, spiritual practices, and social systems all reflect thousands of years of adaptation to a landscape that resists external influence. Understanding this geography is essential to understanding why so many cultural traditions in the Central African Republic have remained remarkably intact. Yes? The Ake people, a community rooted in an ancient forest tradition. The Aka people, often classified within the broader Central African hunter-gatherer groups, represent one of the world's most well-documented forest-dwelling societies. Their population is spread across the southwestern regions of the Central African Republic and neighboring countries. Yet their cultural identity remains closely tied to the rainforests that define their daily life. The Ake rely on a highly adaptable subsistence system centered on hunting, gathering wild plants, locating medicinal resources, and exchanging forest products with nearby farming communities. Their mobility allows them to follow seasonal patterns, animal migrations, and the availability of honey, one of their most valued natural resources. Anthropologists have long noted the Ake's advanced tracking skills, extensive botanical knowledge, and intimate awareness of forest acoustics. They can identify animals not only by footprints, but by broken leaves, subtle scent changes, and the way sound carries through dense vegetation. These abilities reflect a knowledge base refined over countless generations. Their social organization is flexible and cooperative, which helps them navigate the challenges of forest life. Rather than relying on rigid hierarchies, decisions are typically made collectively, emphasizing mutual respect and shared responsibility. AKA dwellings are usually temporary leaf-covered huts, easily assembled and dismantled as they move through the forest. Their diets include wild yams, fruits, nuts, small game, and fish, all accessed through sustainable methods that minimize environmental impact. Despite increasing pressures from deforestation and external economic activities, the AKA maintain cultural resilience through strong community bonds, oral traditions, and the preservation of ecological practices that continue to draw global scientific interest. The role of women in Ake and Baka communities: equality, care, and cultural continuity. Among the Ake and Baka communities, the roles of women reflect a social structure that differs significantly from many surrounding societies. Researchers have highlighted that these groups maintain some of the most egalitarian gender dynamics recorded in anthropological studies. Women participate directly in key subsistence activities, including gathering wild plants, fishing, and in some Ake groups, even joining communal net hunting expeditions. Their contribution to food collection is essential, often providing a large portion of the community's daily diet through foraged resources such as fruits, mushrooms, roots, and medicinal plants. One of the most remarkable characteristics of Ake society is the high level of paternal involvement in child care. Studies have shown that Ake fathers spend more time in close physical contact with infants than men in most other documented cultures. This shared parenting structure allows women greater freedom in economic and social activities and reinforces a sense of partnership instead of hierarchical division. Among the Baka as well, women carry extensive ecological knowledge, particularly related to edible plants, forest pathways, and healing herbs, making them central to the transmission of traditional wisdom. Women also play a critical role in maintaining cultural identity through music, storytelling, and ritual participation. Their voices are essential in the polyphonic singing traditions that the Ake and Baka are known for worldwide. Many ceremonies rely on female-led chants or rhythms that set the foundation for communal gatherings. Through these practices, women help preserve the continuity of collective memory and reinforce ties across generations. This balanced distribution of responsibilities creates a social environment where cooperation, care, and mutual respect shape everyday life, an arrangement that continues to draw significant attention from anthropologists studying human social evolution. Musical traditions, polyphonic mastery at the heart of forest life. The musical traditions of the Ake and Baka are widely recognized as some of the most sophisticated vocal systems in the world. Their polyphonic singing, where multiple independent melodies interweave simultaneously, has been studied extensively by ethnomusicologists for its complexity, improvisational structure, and deep cultural significance. These musical forms are not learned in formal settings. Instead, they develop organically as individuals participate in communal life. Children grow up surrounded by layered rhythms, vocal calls, and melodic responses, absorbing the musical language as naturally as spoken speech. The polyphony typically consists of overlapping vocal lines created by men, women, and children, each contributing a distinct musical phrase. These phrases are shaped by imitation of forest sounds, such as bird calls, or the rhythmic patterns of insects. The result is a vibrant soundscape that mirrors the environment the communities live in. Instruments such as hand drums, wooden slit drums, rattles, and bamboo flutes accompany certain performances, but the human voice remains the central medium. Music also plays a functional role in ritual and daily life. During hunting gatherings, specific rhythms are used to coordinate group movement or encourage collective motivation. Ceremonial songs mark significant events, including birth celebrations, healing rituals, and spiritual ceremonies connected to forest spirits. The Baka, for example, have the Jengi ceremonies, where music helps facilitate communication with the spirit believed to guard the forest. Beyond its cultural value, Aka and Baka music has influenced modern composers and global world music projects, demonstrating its far-reaching impact. These traditions reveal how sound, community, and environment are intertwined, offering insight into one of humanity's most ancient musical lineages. Body art and symbolic expression, visual identity, rooted in nature. Body art among the Ake, Baka, and several neighboring groups in the Central African Republic reflects a long-established cultural language shaped by their environment and social values. Rather than serving merely decorative purposes, these patterns and adornments communicate identity, age, status, and emotional or spiritual states. Many groups use natural pigments made from clay, charcoal, crushed leaves, or tree sap. These materials are applied to the skin in geometric lines, dots, or swirling motifs, each design associated with particular meanings or occasions. Among forest-dwelling communities like the Aka, body painting often appears during communal gatherings, rites of passage, or musical ceremonies. Patterns may signal participation in a hunt, the transition into adulthood, or the honoring of a forest spirit. For the Baka, white clay, known locally as pongo, is frequently applied to the face and torso, producing striking contrasts that emphasize movement during dance rituals. These designs can also serve practical purposes. Certain pigments help repel insects or protect the skin from sun exposure. Adornment extends beyond painting. Traditional jewelry includes necklaces made from seeds, plant fibers, animal teeth, and polished shells obtained through exchange with nearby farming communities. Feather decorations, braided vine bands, and woven belts highlight craftsmanship passed down through generations. Each item reflects a blend of utility and symbolism, reinforcing communal identity while honoring ancestral customs. Scarification, though less common today, has historically been practiced by several groups in the region, particularly the Banda and Gbaya. These patterns, created through carefully arranged cuts, represented beauty, maturity, or lineage. While external pressures and modernization have influenced the frequency of these practices, body art remains a powerful cultural marker that expresses belonging, heritage, and the deep relationship between people and their natural environment. Traditional foods and forest-based cuisine, sustenance through deep ecological knowledge. Food traditions across the Central African Republic's forest communities are built on an intimate understanding of the land and its seasonal rhythms. For groups such as the Aka and Baka, the rainforest functions as both pantry and pharmacy, offering a wide range of edible plants, wild fruits, and medicinal roots. Their cuisine relies heavily on ingredients gathered directly from the forest floor, including yams, mushrooms, kola nuts, wild berries, and leafy greens. These foods provide essential nutrients and have been part of their diet for thousands of years. Hunting and fishing also play vital roles. Small game such as duikers, monkeys, and birds are captured using nets, spears, or traps, while rivers and streams supply fish, crustaceans, and freshwater mollusks. The methods used are highly sustainable. Net hunting involves coordinated group effort, ensuring animals are taken selectively without disrupting broader ecological balance. Honey gathering is a particularly important practice. The Aka and Baka are known for climbing tall trees to access hives, guided by birds such as the greater honey guide that lead them to wild honey sources. Honey is consumed fresh, mixed with roots, or used during communal ceremonies. Cooking techniques reflect efficiency and harmony with nature. Many meals are prepared using leaves as wrappers, allowing food to steam over a slow fire. Tubers may be roasted under hot ashes, and fish can be smoked for preservation. In regions where forest and savanna meet, communities like the Banda incorporate additional staples such as cassava, sorghum, and groundnuts, creating a culinary blend influenced by both hunting, gathering, and small-scale agriculture. These food traditions offer insight into deep ecological intelligence, knowledge of edible species, migration patterns, and sustainable harvesting that has allowed these groups to thrive in one of the most demanding ecosystems on Earth. Beliefs and ritual practices, spiritual traditions tied to the forest. Spiritual life among the Aka, Baka, Banda, and other communities of the Central African Republic is rooted in a worldview that places the natural environment at the center of existence. For forest-dwelling groups like the Aka and Baka, the forest is not simply a physical habitat, but a living presence inhabited by protective and ancestral spirits. These spirits are believed to influence hunting success, community well-being, and the balance between humans and nature. Their belief systems are not organized into codified religions. Instead, they are fluid, oral, and deeply integrated into daily practices. One of the most recognized spiritual traditions among the Baka is the Jengi, or Jengi ritual, centered around a powerful forest spirit regarded as both protector and judge of the community. During ceremonial gatherings, participants sing polyphonic songs, play drums, and perform dances that invite the appearance of a masked figure representing Jengi. This figure embodies the presence of the forest itself, and its arrival marks moments of celebration, initiation, or community renewal. The Aka have similar ceremonies honoring forest guardians, with variations in costume, rhythm, and song traditions reflective of their own cultural history. Beyond these major rituals, everyday spiritual practices include offering songs before a hunt, using sacred plants for protection, and observing taboos that help maintain ecological balance. Certain trees, rivers, or animal species may be viewed as spiritually significant, reinforcing conservation through cultural norms. Among the Banda and Gbaya, spiritual traditions often involve ancestor veneration, divination, and healing rituals conducted by community specialists who use plants, chants, and symbolic objects. These belief systems provide more than religious meaning. They guide social behavior, environmental stewardship, and cultural identity. By connecting the community to the unseen forces of the forest, these practices help maintain cohesion and continuity in a rapidly changing world. Social structure and community life, cooperation, family bonds, and collective stability. The social systems found within the Aka, Baka, Banda, and Gbaya communities offer important insight into how cooperation and shared responsibility shape human societies. Among the Aka and Baka, social organization is notably egalitarian. Decisions are generally made through consensus rather than authority, and leadership roles are flexible, emerging only when specific knowledge or skills are needed. This structure allows the community to adapt quickly to environmental challenges and maintain internal harmony without rigid hierarchy. Family life is equally distinctive. Rather than emphasizing a single nuclear household, these groups function through interconnected family networks in which responsibilities are distributed widely. Children interact with multiple caregivers, and including extended relatives and close community members. This communal approach supports child development and ensures that cultural knowledge, songs, hunting techniques, plant identification, and moral values is passed down collectively. The high involvement of fathers in childcare among the Ake is frequently cited in anthropological literature as one of the most balanced examples of shared parenting. For farming groups such as the Banda and Gbaya, community life revolves around agricultural cooperation, trade, and collective labor during harvest seasons. Social gatherings, storytelling, and dance events reinforce unity and serve as platforms for sharing information or resolving disputes. Elders play an important role in preserving oral histories, overseeing rites of passage, and guiding younger members in ethical and practical matters. Reciprocity is central across all these communities. Sharing food, assisting with shelter construction, and supporting one another in times of illness are considered natural expectations. These practices not only sustain physical survival, but strengthen interpersonal trust. In environments where external support is limited, the emphasis on mutual care forms the backbone of social resilience, helping these cultures endure despite environmental pressures and modernization. Modern challenges, environmental pressure, cultural change, and the fight for preservation. Across the Central African Republic, indigenous communities face a growing list of challenges driven by environmental degradation, economic pressures, and social change. One of the most significant threats is deforestation. Large areas of the Congo Basin have been affected by logging, both legal and illegal, as well as mining operations and agricultural expansion. For groups like the Ake and Baka, whose cultural identity and subsistence practices depend on intact forests, the loss of habitat directly threatens their way of life. Reduced wildlife populations, disappearing plant species, and restricted access to traditional hunting grounds have already begun altering daily routines that have existed for countless generations. Encroachment from outside communities also contributes to cultural pressures. As roads expand and towns grow, younger members of indigenous groups may seek wage labor or trade opportunities, leading to gradual shifts in language use, attire, and social norms. While these changes can offer new options, they also risk eroding the cultural knowledge held by elders. Some communities report that fewer young people participate in rituals, learn traditional songs, or practice forest-based crafts, raising concerns about long-term cultural continuity. Health disparities further complicate the picture. Limited access to health care, exposure to airborne diseases introduced by outsiders, and nutritional disruptions linked to reduced forest resources place indigenous groups in vulnerable positions. International organizations and local governments have attempted to introduce conservation programs and cultural preservation projects, but implementation varies widely due to political instability and resource limitations within the country. Despite these obstacles, many Ake, Baka, Banda, and Gbaya communities continue to resist cultural loss through revitalization efforts, intergenerational teaching, and sustainable forest stewardship. Their resilience demonstrates a profound commitment to maintaining identities shaped by thousands of years of environmental knowledge, offering valuable lessons about coexistence, adaptation, and cultural strength in a rapidly transforming world. The indigenous communities of the Central African Republic carry traditions shaped by thousands of years of life in both forest and savanna. Their music, art, social structure, and ecological knowledge reflect unique ways of understanding the world and living sustainably within it. As deforestation, modernization, and social change accelerate, these cultures face growing pressure that threatens their ability to pass on essential knowledge to future generations. Protecting their traditions requires recognizing their rights, supporting cultural education, and ensuring access to the lands that sustain their identity. Their resilience demonstrates the importance of community cooperation and harmony with nature, values that offer meaningful lessons far beyond their borders. By acknowledging the significance of these cultures, we help safeguard a vital part of humanity's shared heritage.